Mythical Zoans, the rarest, the most powerful types of devil fruits to have ever existed, which possesses abilities that are out of this world. We legit got Looney Tunes straight out of Cartoon Network. We have Pineapple Man who can fly and heal himself. We got a freaking dragon. That's right, guys. Wait, what? He's actually a fish. But we also got Kurama who jumped right out of Boruto. These types of devil fruits are like no other, more rare than Logias. They are so scarce that after 1050 chapters, only 8 users have been revealed. To put that into perspective, Oda introduced more people in this One Piece world with Conqueror's Haki, which is possessed by 1 in several million people. So in this video, we are going to go over every single Mythical Zoan devil fruit, explaining their unique powers and what makes them so special, to the point of even having a will of their own.
Hold on, what?
Seriously, these fruits are alive. Those of you who have the notification bell on would already know this, but we have more balls-deep information coming your way that will blow your minds.
But before we learn more about mythical zones, I gotta tell you about something mythical that exists in real life. I traveled across the seas, across the deserts and mountains to acquire this power. The Tokyo Treats and the Sakuroko box. Tokyo Treats and Sakuroko box are built to satisfy the inner weeb inside all of us for Japanese snacks. If you guys want 20 of the most rare snacks that are exclusive to Japan for a limited time, then Tokyo Treats is the one for you. Sakuroko, on the other hand, is perfect if you want 20 of the more authentic and traditional Japanese snacks, including a piece of tableware every month. Sakuroko also helps by partnering with local Japanese snack makers to continue sharing Japanese culture and traditions that have been passed down from hundreds of years. They also give you this handy little booklet which tells you what you're actually eating, because you know, reading anime subtitles to learn Japanese can only get you so far. You know what, since this snack is green and says premium on it, let's try this one. They're called matcha wafers. Oh wow, that looks really good. Do you want to try some? How is it?
Oh, you were pretty good.
Now next up, let's try something from the Tokyo Treat box. Oh, right as I open, I see big ass Kit Kat. Kit Kat is legit my favorite candy. That tastes like banana. That is so good. This flavor is so good. Now the best part is that if you use code ABD, then you get $5 off of a Sakuroko or a Tokyo Treats box. All you gotta do is click the link in the description and order your box by April 30th in order to receive this month's monthly box. Now back to mythical fruits as I devour down this entire package of mythical Kit Kats.
So where better to start than the Hito-Hito no Mi mythical model Nika, possessing a body with the properties of rubber and fighting in whatever way he fancies, bringing smiles to the faces of the people. The warrior of liberation, also known as Sun God Nika. It is said that in all the world there is no power more ridiculous. This very fruit for 25 years has fooled the world of its true nature, where we all believed it to be a Paramecia type, the Gomu Gomu no Mi. However, with Luffy's Gear 5th Awakening, along with the 5 Elders conversation, it had been revealed that Luffy's fruit is actually a mythical zone that is so legendary and powerful to the point where the world government was trying to erase its name and existence from history. This was due to the fear of the ridiculous power and change this fruit will bring to the world. Yes, obviously the world government don't want this change because they want to be in control. Through this revelation, we also learned that Zoan fruits have a will of their own, even before they are consumed. The 5 elders stated that this fruit had been avoiding their grasp for over 800 years, as though the fruit is making its own decisions. This information brought further evidence to the theory of the origins of devil fruits, where Paramecia fruits were objects materialized into fruits, and due to being inanimate by nature, they do not have a will of their own. Hence, when awakened, the user with their own will can control the fruit's effect outside of their bodies. When it comes to Logias, we believe the origins were natural things that has a will of natural instincts without intelligence, more like a reactory system. When awakened, their natural affinity will go wild and loose. But when we come to Zoans, their origins were living beings or personalities, where the will of these fruits are in fact intelligent to some degree, obviously depending on the type of Zoans we are talking about. Awakened users are able to truly embody the full effect of the personality and creature of the said fruit. But coming back to Luffy's fruit, as it's a literal embodiment of a god, the will of this fruit is like no other. In chapter 1043, Zunisha confirmed that Joyboy 800 years ago was the previous user of the Nika fruit. This established the connection of Joyboy's promise being fulfilled as the prophecy of the past predicted through a future user of the fruit. In essence, Joyboy's will was carried forwards with this fruit. So either the Nika fruit influenced Joyboy to be the liberator in his time, or Joyboy was a liberator and the Nika fruit was drawn to him like it was with Luffy. Similar to the other users of the Hito-Hito no Mi, the user is able to transform and embody into a person of its variant. In this case, the mythical warrior of liberation, sun god Nika. As Nika is a liberator, the ability given by this fruit is the embodiment of freedom. This to be taken literally along with figuratively. As the user becomes robber, it gives them full flexibility and control over their bodies, only limited by imagination. We actually can see this with Luffy's moves and his gear transformations. Luffy can manipulate his body to punch as powerful as a pistol, rifle and other weapons. With his gear system, he is able to manipulate the size of his blood vessels, causing his blood to flow more quickly, pumping more oxygen and nutrients throughout his body. This greatly increases his speed. Luffy's creativity doesn't even stop there, as with Gear Third, he is able to inflate bones of a particular part of his body, making it gigantic. And for all my science nerds, as we all know, F equals MA, meaning more force. After learning Haki, Luffy was given further freedom to manipulate his body, as with Gear 4, he was able to bring out effects similar to the monstrous animals he faced at Ruskaina. All in all, Luffy's Devil Fruit ability allows him to produce effects, only limited by what he has experienced. Luffy has seen guns, rifles, giants, later crazy strong animals, and then even stronger fighters he faced off against. All of these life experiences helped Luffy's creativity and allowed his body to mold into what was needed to achieve the effect Luffy wants. Even the defensive factor this fruit gives allows the user to be free from blunt physical damage and other things that rubber is insulated against, like lightning. This gives Luffy the power to be brazen and force forwards in the face of adversity. This moves us onto the awakening of the Nika model of the Hito-Hito no Mi. When Luffy activated his Gear 5, his heart started beating hard and loud in a rhythmic manner. Zunisha called this the drums of liberation, recalling how Joyboy 800 years ago would go into this state producing the same beat. The name given was likely due to the liberation which followed this transformation, both to the surroundings and to the user itself. Luffy's heart, made out of rubber, is able to beat this hard without tearing. This would in effect give Luffy incredible strength and speed, similar to the pills Hody ingested to become as strong as he did. In this state, Luffy's hair and clothes turned white. His eyes even changed, glowing up with white ring-like pupils, and white clouds float around his neck, similar to the clouds of steam that we see in Gear 4. Luffy, with the use of his Haki, is able to fuel the power of this fruit and extend its effects to his surroundings, much like a Paramecia. During his fight with Kaido, he was able to deflect attacks by bending the ground and surroundings as though it was rubber. He was also able to affect other living beings, as he did by stretching Kaido himself. Luffy could even turn the particles in space into rubber, allowing him to walk through air. This extensive sharing of his rubber properties don't stop there, as Luffy even managed to catch lightning and throw it as though he's the god of thunder, Zeus himself. However, with all that said, there is another ability that arises with Luffy's Devil Fruit awakening, which was to make his surroundings similar to that of a gag comic book. Yes guys, along with himself, those who were affected by his Haki exhibited Looney Tunes like effect, with their eyes popping out and looking more cartoonish. Luffy's own body also became so malleable that when taking damage he was able to warp and mold around what attacked him. In Kaido's own words, it's akin to something out of a picture book. But moving past the Paramecia-like awakening, Luffy also underwent all that of a Zoan awakening too, which fundamentally increased his overall stats. We're talking power, speed, durability, and recovery. With this, Luffy was able to utilize his devil fruit to even a greater effect. Like Gear Third for instance, only allowed Luffy to gigantify certain parts of his body, but when awakened, Luffy was able to turn into a literal giant. We're talking not just one part of his body, but head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The thought of giant Luffy activating Gear Second, achieving blitz speed whilst being this humongous would be a planet level disaster, as when in this state, Luffy utilizes previous gears in conjunction without the need of any preparation. However, we move on to the fact that this fruit literally does not have any limitations to its growth. In chapter 1047, Luffy showcases the extent to which he can increase parts of his body, as he was able to gigantify his hands to the size of an entire island. There is so much more to this fruit, but that would need a dedicated video, so you guys know what to do, right? Smash the like button and get this video over 30,000 likes, and I will drop down a special video for you lot about Luffy's power in full detail. But so that we're all on the same page, the Nika fruit by far is the strongest ability in the series, as it's only limited by its user's imagination and haki, where the latter is the fuel for its power. And like other Zoans, Luffy's base state and different gears could be a hybrid form of the fruit, where his awakening is the full transformation. However, due to its mysterious nature, it is possible the full transformation is still yet to be seen. We all know Luffy will face off against Blackbeard, and having this ability, he will be able to counter his Tremor no Mi. We just don't know the full extent to his power. In the future, will Chopper's Rumble Ball help him out? Also, will he be able to mold and transform the Red Line itself? Because this fruit also brings the will of Nika into reality, as the user becomes the means to liberate the world. Luffy's journey of sharing his freedom to his friends and kingdoms isn't a coincidence. It all links back to the power of the Hito-Hito no Mi mythical model Nika. Now it's time to talk about Oden's devil fruit. What? No, not that Oden, I'm talking about this one. Yeah, that's more like it. It's time to talk about Kaido's son's mythical devil fruit, the Inu-Inu no Mi, model Okuchi no Makami. This fruit belongs to the Inu-Inu category, roughly meaning dog of course. Okuchi no Makami also derived from the Japanese mythology Makami, who was traditionally worshipped like a sacred beast, feared for his ferocity and loud mouth, much like Yamato, who has no issues constantly screaming that she's Oden. But Makami was also a guardian deity that protected crops against wild boars and deers. This of course links into how Kaido described the fruit in chapter 1020. He says the fruit is specifically unique to Wano, being its guardian spirit. Kaido intended Yamato to take the role of being its leader under his rule, continuing on the oppression he laid out to the people of Wano. However, in this fight, Yamato explains that she instead will liberate the country and its samurais, tying back to the myth of the Makami deity. Makami was worshipped as a being who understood the nature of humans and it protected the good amongst them, much like the people of Wano in Yamato's case, and punished the wicked, meaning Kaido and Orochi. The Makami deity was even known to protect people from hardship, including fire, once again being relayed by Yamato, who rushes to protect everyone from the raging fire during the war in Wano. Yamato, without the fruit's ability, is already insanely strong. She fought Ace to a standstill, defeated Ulti with one hit, and even fought our boy Luffy. But with the fruit, she really does live up to the name of a guardian spirit. In chapter 1020, we begin to see the full scope of this fruit's ability, as Yamato, whilst in her hybrid form, fights her father nearly on par. This fruit transforms her hair, making it longer and untamed like that of the Sulongs. She also gains a ribbon-like trail of cold ice around around her shoulders and grows a large tail. The fruit being a carnivorous zone, like Rob Lucci's fruit, it grants the user heightened instincts and gives them a form utilized for combat, including canine fangs and claws. But like all mythical zoans, there is more to this ability than what meets the eye, as Yamato gains the power to blast beams of cold called Namuji Hyoga. And believe me when I tell you that these beams ain't a joke, as it actually matched Kaido's Boro Breath in power. Now, although it was countered by Kaido's Boro Breath, we do see that this ability is to freeze targets to immobilize them, just like when Yamato used it to freeze the TNT in Onigashima. Yamato also makes the use of her ice generating abilities for offense, not just by breathing out this substance to freeze the target, but she can also reinforce her weapons for strengthened melee attacks. She can even use ice as a suit of protective armor to coat herself in, giving her insane durability. On top of this, the protective layer of ice that coats her skin is much more powerful than you would originally think. This technique, also known as Kagami Yama, meaning Mirror Mountain, initially looks indistinguishable from Yamato's skin. It is said to take the brunt force of attacks, but as the durability wears out, the armor begins to crack and shatter. She used this ability to block against Kaido's blow, and although it didn't stop the attack, it definitely softened the blow, which is insane considering her opponent was Kaido, who was definitely not holding back. Or maybe he was, because, you know, he has some sentimental feelings for his child. But either way, if all else fails, Yamato's powers don't stop there, as, you know, she can erect walls of ice. I mean, the more you think about this fruit, the more you realize how OP it truly is. But most importantly, Yamato can run on all fours. She can at least run around 60 kilometers per hour.
Next up, we got one of, if not the best support type fruit in the entire series. It is the one fruit that can fit into all three types of devil fruit. The bird fruit model Phoenix, which was eaten by the former 1st Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco the Phoenix. With this fruit, you can turn into a creature just like all zones do. You pretty much are intangible like a Logia, and then you have a healing factor like a Paramecia. Since it's a mythical zone, this fruit is based on the Greek mythological creature, the Phoenix. The Phoenix is a giant bird that, when it dies, a new Phoenix arises from the ashes of its predecessors. They are literally one in the same, as it is also known as the Firebird. Sadly for Marco, the resurrection part didn't come with the fruit, since he couldn't resurrect the Whitebeard pirates and instead lost to Blackbeard a second time in the Payback War. Holy shit. Yo, that writing's kind of dirty. Oh my god, effing chat. However, unlike the real life Phoenix, Marco's flames don't actually burn anyone, and instead have a healing factor which allows him to heal himself or other people. These blue flames are literally dubbed the blue flames of resurrection, capable of healing through pretty much any attack, and it can also serve as a shield, like we see with Marco's immortal Tistle. We saw this Tistle in chapter 1043 when Marco tanked a Boro Breath from Kaido. Take in mind that this exact attack from Kaido was seen to be capable of destroying an entire mountain. He was also capable of defending attacks from 2 admirals during the Marineford War, one from Kizaru and the other one from Akainu, 2 Logia Devil Fruit users with incredible destructive powers. And let's not forget how he 1v2'd King and Queen to let Zoro up to the rooftop. Despite being more in the support side of devil fruits, Marco has found creative ways to use the flexibility and agility of the bird's power as offensive attacks, such as Phoenix Brand, which is an attack that utilizes the speed and durability of the Phoenix that allows him to accelerate at high speeds, and while he's mid-air, Marco readies his Phoenix talons in front of him to deliver a powerful kick, as well as Bluebird, which is an attack where Marco uses his index and middle fingers to make a dense swirl of flaming feathers and launches it straight towards the enemy. Remember that even if the Phoenix Fire can't burn you, it can certainly hurt you due to the high speed impact received by the attack. It is also one of the few mythical zone type fruits that we see in human beast form, where only the wings, talons, and tail are seen. This mythical zone is also one of the only few fruits in the entire world of One Piece that allows you to fly. Well, he's a literal bird, of course he can fly, duh.
Well, no fucking shit.
Have you ever wondered what a snake looks like? Then look no further than one of your friend groups. There's sure to be one.
It ain't me. Ain't me.
But coming back to One Piece, if you ever wondered what a snake would look like that ate a magical fruit and got the power of a 8-headed serpent, then you're in the right place, because the next fruit we'll be talking about is the Hebi-Hebi no Mi model Yamata no Orochi. This fruit was eaten by none other than the biggest snake of them all, Kurozumi Orochi, also known as the Kage of the dumbasses. Like all the other mythical zones, this mythical zone is based on a mythical creature that existed thousands of years ago. This creature being the Yamata no Orochi, or Orochi for short. This creature is an 8-headed serpent which derives from Japanese mythology. Yamata no Orochi is known to enjoy alcohol and human flesh, which is also a parallel to Orochi himself, who loves to drink and is seen killing his victims by crushing them with his jaws. Now, a lot of people get confused with this fruit, thinking it's based on the Greek mythical creature, the Hydra. They're both similar, but unlike the Hydra, Orochi is unable to grow its heads back. However, the user of this fruit has essentially 8 lives, as each head counts as one, as seen in chapter 985 when Kaido literally slashed Orochi's head, killing him. Oh, no, he did not kill him.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
He keeps coming back, like we saw in chapter 1008. The same thing happened in chapter 1009 when the scabbards decapitated 6 of the 7 heads of Orochi, but we see him come back again during chapter 1030. This dude just needs to die already. However, during the most recent chapter 1047, when Orochi comes to try and kill Komurasaki again, he transforms into his full Yamata no Orochi form. However, it only has 1 head remaining, meaning he can no longer get decapitated or he will die. Have you guys ever heard of the saying 2 heads are better than 1?
Wrong.
Orochi has 8 heads, 8 of them, and I think it actually made him dumber. Bro, Kurozumi Orochi was one of the worst people that could have eaten this mythical zone, as he never had the drive to get more powerful physically, so he never unlocked the full potential of the fruit. Hell, he didn't even unlock the potential hybrid form, even when that creepy old lady said, "This is the power you need to achieve your goals." But he never used that power to achieve anything. He only used trickery and manipulation and sat behind the protection of Kaido like a little bitch. We don't even know what kind of cool or wacky powers it possesses, since Orochi never used any of that. However, despite all of this, don't get fooled, as this mythical zone could have some impressive powers. I mean, all mythical zones have overpowered abilities, so why wouldn't this one? For example, being based on the mythical creature Yamata no Orochi, which can be classified as a dragon, you might be able to use a variation of Boro Breath like Kaido. Yamata no Orochi is also said to be able to control the elements, so that could be a cool power. But sadly, we might never get to see what kind of powers the mythical snake fruit gives you, since Orochi, the Kage of the dumbasses, is the worst character to have eaten the fruit. So next up, we have the mythical zone fruit of Kaido, the Ua-Ua no Mi model Seiryu, or the fish fruit model Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon's myth says that it is one of the 4 guardian spirits of cities across Japan, where it protects the city of Kyoto. In Chinese culture, this dragon is also called the Blue Dragon of the East, hence why Kaido's dragon form is blue in color. Kaido has had the powers of the Ua-Ua no Mi for 38 years, when Big Mom gave it to him during the God Valley incident. And in nearly 4 decades, Kaido has become quite proficient with it. We've seen Kaido utilize it to become a serpent-like Eastern dragon and a dragon-human hybrid form. When Kaido goes into his full beast form, he grows so large that the flower capital seems so tiny next to him, making him the largest of any zone forms we have seen so far. In addition to these forms, Kaido has also shown us alternate hybrid forms, like in chapter 1037 and in chapter 1042, where he appears slightly bulkier with different facial features with a full set of fangs and a larger nose. It's not just Kaido's size which gets bigger from the dragon fruit though, but his transformation also boosts his physical abilities. We can see Kaido destroying houses by just moving as a dragon, like in Okobore Town, where if Kaido didn't stop wrecking havoc, then all of Kuri, the entire region of Kuri, was in danger of getting destroyed. Even the scales covering Kaido's body when he is in his dragon form or his hybrid form are very durable. So durable, in fact, that normal Haki amplified attacks don't even scratch them. He literally swiped Luffy's full-powered Gear 4th Kong gun with ease. Only attacks with advanced armament Haki or Ryo can damage the user of the Ua-Ua no Mi model dragon. The fruit also gives the user some crazy supernatural powers similar to all other mythical zones. But the dragon fruit has by far the most of these prominent abilities. From the scale to the conjuring of flame clouds, which allow the user to literally fly through the air or lift entire islands and move them, this shit is broken. And while Kaido is using these flame clouds to lift a freaking island, he is battling Luffy at full strength as if he needs no focus for the clouds to be present. Additionally, the Ua-Ua no Mi model dragon also allows Kaido to control different elements like we see with the Boro breath, where it is a concentrated blast of fire which Kaido can breathe out, and it has so much force behind it that it can travel for miles until it hits a target within seconds. We've also seen Kaido summon lightning bolts from the sky by simply roaring, as we see in episode 1004, including the sharp blades of wind causing fast rotating tornadoes called Kaifu, which can cut stones and human bodies with ease like we saw with his attack severing Kiku's arm. Kaido's fruit actually has some more tie-ins with Eastern myths, especially with the Chinese Dragon Gate legend. Being part of the fish category of the zone class of fruit, the Azure Dragon could also be a representation of the Dragon Gate located on top of a waterfall which is falling from a great mountain on the Yellow River. When carps successfully swim up and make the jump to the top, they're transformed into a majestic dragon, with their scales being a representation of their origins as a carp. Even Wano, which Kaido has taken over, is reached after sailing on top of a waterfall with koi fish swimming up and jumping. Finally, the Ua-Ua no Mi model Azure Dragon has a sister fruit in the world of One Piece, an artificial one to be exact. When Kaido was captured by the Marines, Vegapunk and the scientists at Punk Hazard took samples of his and the fruit's lineage factor, creating a duplicate version of the fruit. However, this fruit was deemed a failure by Vegapunk and never used, until Momonosuke in his hunger found the fruit in Punk Hazard and ate it, turning himself into a pink Azure Dragon. We all thought it was a failure of a fruit until Momo became an adult through Shinobu's power and showed us that he possessed the same abilities as Kaido, especially the flame clouds, and if he trained up with the fruit, he could probably use all the abilities of the real Azure Dragon, which Kaido displayed to us.
Next up, we've got the Hito-Hito no Mi model Daibutsu. Yes, that's right, another mythical Hito-Hito no Mi, and no, this isn't the last one either. In fact, knowing that there's multiple variants of this fruit opens up a lot of doors to other potential mythical personalities which are still lurking around. Either way, like all Hito-Hito no Mi fruits, the Daibutsu model gives its user the ability to transform into Daibutsu. Well, I'm glad you asked. A Daibutsu is the term for giant Buddha, representing its statues around the world. This fruit, eaten by previous Admiral Sengoku, allows him to transform into a giant Buddha statue made out of gold. And ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. Okay, no. Even though there isn't much of Sengoku's use of this fruit, we did see him go ham during the war in Marineford. In fact, even the soldiers noted that they themselves had never seen this transformation before, reflecting how rarely Sengoku goes into battle since the old days. As Sengoku enters his Zoan state, golden lightning is released, as his limbs expand out of proportion, giving him unnaturally enormous arms and relatively small legs to boot. Transforming into a hardened gold substance whilst becoming a giant gives the user a huge boost in strength to match the increased size, if you know what I mean. This power was able to deal damage to even Luffy, despite his inflated and highly pressurized rubber body. Sengoku's attack instantly destroyed the scaffolding that they were on, pushing past Luffy's super inflated belly and Mr. Three's harder than steel candle wall. And like all of the mythical Zoan types, Sengoku has multiple effects and abilities that make up his overall power. Sengoku is able to use his palm thrusts to launch powerful golden shockwaves. This attack can cause heavy, widespread damage. In fact, it was able to do so to a group of enemies and was strong enough to injure even the Blackbeard pirates. Now, we haven't seen other uses of this attack. In the anime, these shockwaves are shown to be powerful enough to clash against the tremor shockwaves made by Blackbeard, and all in all, like all other mythical Zoan fruits, there is a pulling force of will where the personality of each user matches its respective fruit. Daibutsu being no exception, as it's a representation of something godly and just which Sengoku believes himself to be aligned with. From the Hito-Hito no Mi keyword log entry, there is the idea of the Hito-Hito no Mi granting the user a huge body along with the highest level of brain, which could be reflective of the fruit's ability to change both mind and body. This could be said to be true with Chopper and Luffy too. In Sengoku's case, his mind has been affected by this fruit, increasing his overall intelligence and earning him enlightenment. So the next fruit we're going to be talking about is the Hito-Hito no Mi model Onyudo, a Hito-Hito model fruit possessed by Onimaru. Now, in case you did forget, Onimaru is the guy who defended the bridge and saw Zoro do this. He also collected the swords for the eventual rise of the Akazaya clan, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Mythical Zoan fruit that he ate. Now, much like Chopper's devil fruit, this devil fruit transforms one into an Onyudo, meaning a human-like yokai in the form of a giant monk. It being a Hito-Hito fruit, if a non-human eats it, it grants them human intelligence and obviously gives you the ability to speak. And we know this since Onimaru was originally a Kitsune, a fox with flame-like features. If you look into the meaning of Onyudo, you can clearly see Oda's inspiration for the fruit, and the fact that Onimaru owns it is no coincidence. Many legends state that Onyudo are just monstrous giants rather than monks, which rings true with Onimaru since he is never perceived as a monk by anyone, but in these legends there is also another side to these Onyudo, a kind, gentle side that helps people, but they are still seen as monsters by many as they are usually very aggressive, leading to distrust which is seen in Wano with Onimaru as he only trusted Kawamatsu when he straight up offered up his arm. He then allowed him to take the samurai's weapons from the graves. In one story, the Onyudo appears in light snow, reflecting Onimaru's first appearance in Wano. Now, although we can go into many philosophical reasons to deduce how Oda planned for this, there is a much simpler way to tell, as Onyudo are literally seen as foxes in disguise. Moving on to the fruit's actual abilities, and considering we haven't seen too much of it, it's considerably powerful. As you could probably guess from the humongous size the fruit grants you, its strength also matches it, as Onimaru was able to match Zoro in terms of strength and agility. Now, this was in their first bout, whereas in their second, he was overwhelmed by Zoro, meaning that Zoro was probably just caught off guard the first time, but it doesn't disguise the fact that he's still matched with Zoro, which proves this fruit is not to be messed with. And since he was a fox that ate a fruit not pertaining to his original form, he also likely possesses a hybrid form, and going off other hybrid forms, yeah, we can assume that it's going to be pretty damn powerful. With the intelligence of a human, the speed of a fox, and the raw strength that the fruit gives. Now, the Dog fruit model nine-tailed fox is also one of the mythical Zoan types, a model within the Inu-Inu fruit category, wielded by none other than Katarina Devon of the Blackbeard Pirates. Now, don't go getting confused here. No, Kurama did not get resurrected into One Piece after all the shit he saw between Naruto and Hinata. Instead, this Zoan type more closely resembles the Kitsune rather than the yokai portion of the nine-tailed fox myth. Instead of being a terrifying fox monster, the Kitsune transforms into a bewitching woman and tricks their victims into submission. The Kyubi no Kitsune legend goes as far back as the oral history of Japan, where the fox becomes a beautiful fox witch, making the emperor fall in love with her. However, the more he falls in love, the sicker he gets. The myth of the fox spirit likely comes from the notion of men falling so in love with women that they end up ruining their lives through unimaginable pain and suffering. Yes, you're hearing that right. Basically, Japan and the Eastern culture, they tried to warn us of OnlyFans thousands of years ago, and we didn't listen. The nine-tailed fox fruit's power follows the myth from the real world, where it gives the user not only the ability to transform into the mythical beast with 9 tails, but also the ability to impersonate anyone they want. I'm talking even their clothing will change. And of course, this was a disadvantage of Bon Clay's. We saw this firsthand when Katarina Devon tricked Moria into thinking that she was his friend, only to reveal that his friend was already dead. This also embodied the characteristics of the nine-tailed fox, where they are a master of deceit and causing untold pain. You see, Katarina used Moria's love for his friend to give him all the hope and relief in the world by letting him meet his friend, but just as this happiness was bubbling up inside of Moria, it burst once he realised that Absalom could not use his invisibility fruit, metaphorically sucking all life and shine out of Moria's eyes. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are probably thinking, this is just Bon Clay's powers, it's really not that overpowered. However, there were limitations to the other impersonation fruits like Broly's mirror fruit or Bon Clay. For example, Bon Clay had to first touch you to become you, plus his clothes wouldn't transform, causing the power to be a little bit less effective. And Broly's transformations were always mirrored, so if you got a scar or marking, you're out of luck because people will figure that out instantly. Meanwhile, Katarina managed to fool Moria, a former warlord of the sea, with her powers. That sounds pretty damn OP to me. She was already powerful enough to be called one of the strongest female pirates in the seas and was sent to level 6 of Impel Down with the toughest of criminals, where she was one of the 4 survivors of the Battle Royale that Blackbeard initiated in Impel Down and became the 6th Titanic captain of the Blackbeard pirates. She even tanked the shockwaves of Whitebeard's Tremor Fruit and Sengoku's Daibutsu Punch. And this was all before she even had the mythical fox fruit. May I remind you, her fruit in the future maybe could even give her a complete impersonation where she gains the ability to learn the victim's memories and maybe even mimic their devil fruit powers. Katarina with her Inu-Inu no Mi model nine-tailed fox would be a perfect final matchup for Nami. With her now fully subjugating Zeus to her side and likely an upgrade to her climate act in the coming arcs, it would present for an amazing battle where Nami the cat burglar, who is a master of deceit herself and trickery, has to trick the embodiment of manipulation in Katarina. And now with that, we have covered all of the current 8 Mythical Zoan fruits. I'm sure that's not going to be all of them. Likelihood is that Blackbeard and Imusuma and God knows who else are going to possess one too. I mean, this is One Piece. The world is endless. You know what else is endless? The amount of videos on this channel. And YouTube has this idea that it thinks you're going to like this one on your screen, so go and see if they're right. We'll be seeing you over there, and bye-bye.